You got it.
Alright, well, I mean, you clicked on the video, so you know what it's gonna be. So, what do you think of it?
Well, let's see here. We've never really talked about this band too much, or at least reviewed something. So YOLO. But I tried to go into this album with as much as an open mind as I possibly could have. And, you know, maybe thinking there might be something on here that's okay. I wasn't going in, you know, trying to just be like, Emmure's shit. Everything on here is going to be shit. I mean, I was a little wrong. But I wanted to try to be as unbiased as possible when I first gave this a listen. And this band... this band just goes wrong in just so many directions. And it's just... I feel it's mostly Frankie Palomari that is why this band is wrong. But seriously, this album goes nowhere. It's seriously... It's one speed the whole fucking time, one style the whole time. It's just what Emmure has evolved into. It's just this one-dimensional deathcore band. And there's barely any riffs on here. It's mostly just breakdowns or open-stringed grooves, I guess I can put it. And there's some melody on here, but in most cases, I feel it just kind of gets in the way. It's unnecessary, and the song didn't need it. It didn't add anything to it, and it just kind of pissed me off. Especially the song Most Hated. You know, that they tried to go for some ambience there during the verse, and it just fails, and it's just awful. Most of the time, it is just breakdowns, just open-stringed. You know, it's like, what the fuck, man? I mean, anybody can seriously just take a guitar and, you know, play some open strings. Now, I'm not saying you need to be the most talented, but, you know, come on, you can play more than one fucking note on an album. And, you know, even when you think they're going somewhere, they're probably just playing the octave of that. There's a couple cases on here where they had, you know, a riff that seemed like it was building up, and then it just kind of... It only took about 5 seconds for it to fucking fall apart, with them just turning it into a breakdown. Take the song Grave Markings, for example. That could have been a very cool riff that opened up that song, but they just destroyed it. It killed all the vibes that riff had, how it was building up. And you take the last song, We Were Just Kids, I believe it's called. That song could have been good. Now, I'm not going to lie. It could have been cool. It had some interesting guitars going on. Probably my favorite guitars on the whole album. It just wasn't open-stringed, ignorant mosh, as Macklin Beaton puts it, breakdowns. It kind of had, you know, some melody to it and stuff, and it could have been cool. But here comes the other problem. Frankie Palomari just completely destroys everything that he puts vocals to. Maybe it's just my personal taste, but he just talks because he can't sing. And he tries to, you know, be cool and add some cool shit with these, like, talky parts and, you know, talk and build up into a scream and, you know, that adds emotion and anger to it. After a while, it just gets annoying. It gets old to hear it all the time, to never hear, you know, have a line fully screamed out. It's, like, half talked and half screamed. And even his screams are just very one-dimensional and just... It seems to either be here or here. He can't do this. He can't fluctuate where he needs to be or when he should. It's just brutal or high. You know, it's one of the two. And it just kind of gets stale. I mean, I don't know why there's 15 fucking songs in this album. It way overstates its welcome. Even if the songs are 2.5 to 3.5 minutes long most of the time, it's just way too fucking long. This album probably could have got across with just 11 or 12 tracks and been fine. The only thing that I feel that Emmure has going for them is occasionally they can be on the heavy side. When you put everything aside, you know, all of your hatred for them or whatever, occasionally they can have a little bit of a heavy touch to them. But heavy can only go so far. Heavy, that's why I'm saying this band is so one-dimensional, because it's just heavy, 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 heavy all the time. And most bands are heavy, but they change shit up. You know, take Whitechapel, they're a heavy band, but they change it up with, you know, a variety of riffs or solos, or, you know, the vocals will add to it or something. Here, nothing just seems to change at all. It's just one pace the whole fucking time. Well, the typical 4/4 breakdown pace. There's nothing different. And then, you know, maybe sometimes they'll throw in some groove or something, you know, get a little bit of gent, I guess. Get a little bit of bouncy. You know, like in the song E. You know, that's a bouncy song.
Bounce.
Maybe sometimes the rhythms are okay. But, you know, or the grooves, I mean. But I'd say the only thing, really, that they have going for them is that these songs will get stuck in your head. They're catchy songs, but to me, I always think of Emmure's, when I get an Emmure song stuck in my head, it's like that shitty pop song that you hear on the radio, and then it's just in your head all the time. And you can't get it out of your head, and you want it out of your head, and you're like, fuck, I hate this song, but it's always stuck in my head. That's how I feel with Emmure. You know, I don't want these songs stuck in my head, but, you know, they had that catchiness factor, and that's about the only thing that I feel has going for them. I just feel that they write these songs and they just try to be as controversial as they possibly can, just to get people to talk about them, just so they can stay relevant, because they're so paper thin when it comes to writing their music, and just to sell records and sell tickets and stuff. And that's not how it should roll. And I feel that it's more about their image than it is the actual music and putting it together. And actually trying to be creative, because each song isn't very much more creative than the one before. That's my personal thoughts on here, on, you know, Eternal Enemies, bro.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ramble on too much. I agree with everything Tyler says. When I heard this album came out, I put off listening to it for a while. I just didn't want to. Because I tried, again, like Tyler, I tried to go in with an open mind, but especially after hearing, like, N.I.A. and Nemesis, when they put those songs out, it just wasn't happening. And for, you know, again, I don't find it enjoyable for a lot of the same reasons that Tyler did. You know, they almost play exclusively breakdowns. I mean, hell, I'm a crappy guitar player, and I can play a bunch of shitty breakdowns. You know, I can do that. And if I can do it, then it's not that awesome, then. At least, that's how kind of I gauge it. If it's something that I can do easily, then I don't know, I don't see it. And then, it's just because a lot of the songs, they build up, and it's like, okay, this might go somewhere. And then they go back to the same breakdown. And it's not just the same breakdown. It's even the same lyrics that are happening. It's like the song literally just goes full circle. Song most hated, you hear that verse like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, this was stupid the first time I listened to this. Why is it here? I don't know. I mean, instrumentally, yeah, like Tyler said, they can get heavy, but heavy doesn't cut it for me that much. I mean, there's got to be other things. After a while, people will stop caring about heavy. I don't know. And the biggest offender to me is Frank Palomari. I don't know. I just don't like it. His lyrics, I could probably walk up to like an 8th grader and be like, write me lyrics about hating the world. and that's the kind of stuff that will come out, and that's the kind of stuff that we get at here. And like, it seems like he's doing more of the talky stuff more. So I don't know who it was that told him that was a great idea and that he should do more of that. But that person they suck, because like, especially in the song. What was the last song? It was We Were Just Kids.
Yeah.
Like in like the middle of the song, he does this weird like half talky cryy thing, and I'm like,
trying to add emotion to it, but it just doesn't work.
like why? I'm like, yeah, it's just,
know?
and it's, I mean, it comes off half the time as what he's saying is rap, and I feel like that's just the audience these guys are trying to commit to, the kind of guys who are like, for whatever reason, metal's cool, but it's like, for whatever reason, they find metal cool, and they're like, but they listen to rap, and so it's like, oh, Emmure, it's awesome, blah, 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 fucking, listening to E is like a rap song put in the form of Emmure, with all the, if you're with me, scream, hell yeah, all that shit. I don't know, it's just,
You're down with me and my team.
hell yeah. This song, it's just bad. I mean, and after a while, even the controversial stuff, like, it doesn't have the same effect, In the song, with the girls don't like boys, girls like 40s and blondes. Telling a girl she's a fucking slut, I mean, that's not controversial anymore. Nobody's going to lose their shit over that. It just kind of sounds stupid, especially when he says it like 4 or 5 times within like 30 seconds. I'm just like, I don't know, it's just, this band is uninteresting to me. I can't listen to it. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think it's terrible.
I mean, maybe some time ago I would be a lot more critical, I guess. I think I've kind of become less critical of music. I mean, I still make fun of everything, but, I mean, I'm not as serious about it. But, I mean, I would divide this album up into 2 things that I would really talk about, is the, like, at least with, what is on the album is the music, and then Frankie, as most people divide it up. Music, well, altogether, I don't really know. I think they actually stand behind what they say, and they don't care what people think. But I think that's a bit harmful sometimes, because, I mean, if they were creative geniuses, and I mean anymore, well, music is always subjective to what you think is creative and what's not, and everything. And there are people that like this band and stuff, and maybe I just don't get the culture behind this. I'm not a guy that you'd see at an Emmure show. They're not my taste of things. Well, I actually have been to an Emmure show before, but we didn't stick around to see them. But, I mean, I understand that music is subjective, and while this isn't my thing, I just don't see the creativity in this. I don't think they can call themselves creative. Because I don't see the original creation. Not that everything has to be original. I don't want to be one of those gent douchebags that, like, I listen to Meshuggah, so I'm automatically better than you. But, I mean, it's just not creative to me. Where people have said that they're very heavy, and I think that may be a thing they have going for them. This is my first real through and through listen of quite a few songs and an analysis of them. I don't think they're that heavy. I mean, they're a heavy band, I guess, because they're heavier than other genres and pop music and some other metal bands. But there are bands that are heavier, and actually, they aren't just heavier and they're less creative. They're heavier and they're more creative. So it really seems to put these guys a bit behind. And I think the fact that they don't really care what people think and what people say may hurt them a bit. Because I feel, I mean, at least if you view some input on your music and you say, like, you want to progress, you want to change, you say, okay, let's take this in and, mix it up and put out something, like the last song, last track on this thingamabobber. I mean, it may be influence. They may think, let's try something new, and it kind of worked out for them. I mean, overall, I'll say I'm not a fan of the whole album. It's just not for me. But it as far as everything else goes on the album, this worked for them. This song worked for them. Like, if I thought this album was good, the last track would have been great. But it really seems to leave them behind a lot of other bands. Vocally, like, again, maybe it's just I don't understand the culture, the whole, thing behind it, being all... Kinda, yeah. Like, for like a tough live show appearance and everything like that. I mean, I just probably don't get it. But, I mean, sometimes it could work. Because I'm not like, whatever the opposite of fan is. I'm not a hater when it comes to this kind of stuff. I like it when other bands do it, like they build into things and it sometimes works, but like Tyler said, he does it quite a lot. Like, it seems every other line a lot, not just like, 2-3 times a song's enough. Nothing like that. I mean, like every other line, it seems. And where it would be cool for them to have like an all-out heavy song where they put in all their, creativity and try to, just for the heck of it, an experimental song, just to, say this is what we can do just to shut everyone up, but it comes back to the fact I guess they don't care enough to do that, and they don't care enough to progress, and they don't care enough to really, I mean, it's good for them. They have a lot of balls to put something like this out that a lot of people would make fun of and, get laughs from and really laugh at what, their jobs are and everything. I mean, it takes some guts to do that, but overall, I just think they kind of need to pay attention a bit to what they do, and at least to bring in people that aren't fans of the band and to be made fun of a little less. I mean, and not that that matters being made fun of and stuff, but if they want to bring in new fans and really reach out and experience life and bring all the genres together and get out of their little their little bubble. I think that's what holds bands back. You don't like that in people when they're too stubborn and, in their own bubble and they won't, sway on anything. It's not usually what you like too much in bands. But that's just me, I guess. Everyone has their own opinion. If you, like Emmure, I guess you'll like this. But, just for me, a non-fan, a not fan, just kind of a neutral position, it's pretty boring musically. Too many, or not enough. I should say it's just not enough. The rhythms are bad. It's a lot of what I hate about metalcore, and I could go on about metalcore, and they're like a metalcore band, but deathcore with the breakdowns and boring rhythms and such. And when they do kind of like add something, it's not something. When they add something like some weird screechy thing on the guitar, it's not something, just because it's all not enough. And really, I just think that they need to expand their minds a bit, and it's cool what they do what they want, but if they really want, I think people would want to expand their minds and welcome new things into their lives and their music and their creative visions. But that's my main problem with the band. I'm not gonna say like, oh well, Frankie, he's such a gangster and it's so stupid, and I don't know any other band members, but Emmure, that's just a stupid band name. There are easy targets there that I could take that sometimes I think about and I kind of lean towards, but I think my overall thing with this band is that they don't welcome anything in. It seems that they just keep doing what they do, and that's not You don't want that like in a politician or
It's
a person or anything like that.
yeah. It feels like this album's just them kind of playing it safe and sticking with what got them to where they are now. You know, there's not a whole lot of, I guess, experimentation and a whole lot of creativity. You know, you could compare this you could compare this to any of their earlier albums, and it's, you know, pretty much the same thing. It's like a fucking Nickelback album, you know? They don't experiment anymore or anything like that. It's just kind of the same, you know, copy-paste type of thing. And that's kind of how I feel with this, you know? They like Sam said, they don't really, you know, welcome things in. I feel that they're almost becoming kind of a niche band. You know, it's either you like them or you don't. You know, it's just for a certain group of people. And, you know, maybe I'm, you know, like Sam said, maybe I'm one of those people that just doesn't understand what it takes to like Emmure. But, and I had a problem, and I still do have a problem with the very first track, which they have renamed to Untitled. But it was called Bring a Gun to School. And I feel like in this day of age, you know, you can go on and say freedom of speech, you can say whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. But we all know that there's just certain things that you don't talk about or you don't even really poke fun at or anything like that. And you know, having a song called Bring a Gun to School about shooting a school up in a day and age where that's something that's taken extremely serious, where there was just a big mass shooting. How long was that ago? Up in Connecticut, like 2-3 years ago now. That is just a little coy for them to get people to talk about them. It's just a publicity thing. And I seriously have a serious problem with that. And I feel that, you know, Frankie Palomari is definitely in the wrong for writing the song about that. Because it's not even cool to even to joke about or anything like that. It's just kind of fucked up.
Yeah, the lyrics
about it?
Yep.
Or something like being sarcastic? Like, is it like...
Holy shit, I'm having too much fun, you know?
Like,
so
they literally only changed the name of the
It's
song.
not like the lyrics to go with the song title, it's not like some sarcastic kind of statement that they're trying to make. It's just kind of like making fun of it, sort of? Or
kind of. It's like putting them in the eyes of the person that's actually doing the school shooting. And their thoughts, you know, one of the lines goes, your loved one's being in the dirt and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
I have a problem with that.
I mean, I could have, like, you know, it's still kind of weird, like, you know, they knew that, like, that would happen, but, I mean, if it's, like, some sort of anti-bullying thing where, you know, it's sort of a statement to where you don't, like, if you know what I mean, it's like some kind of statement, and it's like a sarcastic sort of title, but I mean, if it's like actually, you know, like on the side of it, like, that's funny and that's good, I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't come across like that. It comes across as just them trying to be controversial, which is what this band tries to do. It's really all it comes off as.
I just think they should, I just don't think they care enough. If they started caring, I mean...
Yeah, they definitely don't care. That's pretty evident, the amount of times that you hear, don't give a fuck what you think.
I mean, that's what I think, like, usually I would be like, oh, ha, 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 you know, that's funny, they're being stupid, but I actually think this band, like, doesn't care to the point where they don't let anything in like that, you know, so where they don't change, and then, I mean, you know, yeah, it's cool, you don't care what people think, you know, you're always taught that when you're a kid, but,
you kind of have to, in some aspects, you kind of have to.
Like,
if you want to be successful.
When your music is boring.
Yeah. Ratings. Serious, honest rating.
Serious, honest rating.
I seriously, I'm serious about this. I would give this like 3 guns out of 10 at a school.
Oh yeah, I was gonna give it like a 3 or 4 out of 10.
Because there are some parts that are like a second of like,
ooh. It's like, oh, okay, there we go, and then they kill it. I'm like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this about a 3 out of 10. If you like Emmure, this album's gonna be a 10 out of 10 to you. If you like Emmure, more power to you. Support them, I guess. And, you can talk shit on us. It's okay, because, we don't give a fuck what you think. But anyways, blaze it.
But it's 420. Listen to Children of Cybertron. Blaze it.